Hey folks, welcome to the show. Hey Sharad, how's it going?
It's going very well, and I'm looking forward to another episode today. And we're getting deeply entrenched into core finance and fintech.
Yeah, it seems like we have played the role of being neobanking experts very well,
Yeah,
and we've kind of had the good fortune of speaking with different neobanking platforms, and today is no different. We have with us Suman Gandham. How's it going, Suman?
It's going great. It's going great, Nikhil.
No, absolute pleasure to have you with us. And Suman, obviously, you started Finin, and this is not the first time. I mean, I think this is the first time we are interacting in person. But before that, we did do an email interview with you a couple of months back. At that time, I recall Finin was kind of in a pre-launch stage. And how are things going on at your end?
Okay, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's a long journey, and it's a very bumpy ride, I would say. When we had this email interview, it was like we were in the early stages. We were pre-product, and we were a small team. And right now, I would say that we went live, and we are getting a huge traction and great feedback from the market, from the users. And we are a team of 15 people right now, and working on growing and scaling Finin right now.
No, that's great to hear. I mean, if I recall correctly, Finin obviously it kind of is a savings account led neo banking solution. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yes, I'll put it in this way. Finin is a consumer focused neobank where we help our users to manage, save, and invest their money in a simpler and smarter way. So what we do is that we piggyback on the existing banking partner and we build a better banking, we build a better smart banking, providing better user experience, understanding the user patterns, behavior, and their risk appetite. And based on that, we provide hyper-personalized banking.
Right. So, I mean, if I kind of, and this is like we are post-COVID. In any case, we are seeing somewhat of a neo banking explosion, right? In the sense that obviously you are kind of a pure play model, but a lot of technically companies which used to classify themselves as digital lenders or online lenders, now they have kind of rebranded, remarketed themselves as quote unquote a neo bank. Now, what I wanted to kind of understand was that obviously, Suman, like as of now, you're looking at things purely because it's an early stage, purely from being a customer acquisition funnel, right? And I'm sure at some point in time in your journey, you would like to look at lending as one of the core activities that you would look at. Is my kind of high level, quick and dirty understanding accurate?
I'm sorry to say no, because I totally agree with you that neobanking is kind of a buzzword right now. The problem in India is that every startup is a fintech and every fintech is a neobank.
Yeah.
That's what I would put it.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, there's a very interesting point you put, lending, right? At the end of the day, everything right now is the ultimate goal is how we can lend money to people, right? If you see in the last 5 to 6 years of fintech in India, what exactly happened? Only two things. It's spending or lending. The whole wallet, whole UPI app, and then came the whole lending app. I don't want to take the name, but take a loan for sofa, take a loan to travel, take a loan to pay your UPI and everything, right? So everything is coming to lending.
Yeah.
But which are the apps or which are the banks or which are the fintechs are really looking more from a consumer point of view to help them to manage, save and invest their money? None. Okay, there are a few companies who are working into wealth management, but there's only 1 or 2% of the people they are going there because they know what a mutual fund is, what a equity trading is. But most of the Indian consumers are financial illiterate, right? You can be doctor, you can be engineer, you can be whatever you are doing it. But when coming to managing finances, they are really are done, and none of the startups are really working on something. And that's what we have been in doing. Instead of looking into lending, instead of doing, what we do is that we cover your whole financial journey We call ourselves fitness for finances, Fitbit for finances. So we call ourselves Fitbit finances, where we help. We provide you hyper-personalized banking, so you can really build a better financial habit, better financial journey, where you can be financially independent and economically stable. That's where the name of our startup comes. Finin, financial independence.
Okay.
Understand. I mean, but it's interesting because I think you are kind of taking a more product, quote unquote, play here, right? In the sense that you're kind of looking at this not purely from the perspective of underwriting or a balance sheet play, but more as a product or platform play, that people would like to engage into banking solutions through your application. That's the bet one is trying to make, correct?
Totally. Yes, you're right.
And that's what kind of flips me to the other end of the discussion. If you just take a step back from Finin and in general, look at how credit or banking in India is panning out. Like effectively, when it comes to underwriting, or when it comes to any sort of balance sheet risk, the scheduled commercial banks, and I guess RBI as a regulator also has taken that very conscious choice. They pretty much run the show, right? And you obviously over time have had a lot of non-banking financial companies, but where they kind of get stuck very quickly is that NBFCs can never match the cost of funding, which can be achieved by a deposit-taking scheduled commercial bank, right? So with that out of our way, where do you think is the principal value add for a quote-unquote digital lender in general and a neobank like Finin in particular?
So if I really have to put it in a digital lender and neobank, I think there are two different two categories. Okay, digital lender is like, you lend money, you don't need a bank account, or you don't need anything of the user to really lend money. Okay, that's where comes the whole NBFC show, right? But then coming to the neobank, it's more, as you know, that banking is a very regulated entity. Okay, and as a neobank, we cannot take any deposits, right? So that is the reason we partner with an existing entity, and on top of that, we piggyback on their license, we piggyback on their infra, and on top of that, we build a better banking system. If I have to put it in a simpler and smarter way, I will tell you, people were taking taxis all their lives, okay, and suddenly Uber came in. And everybody is booking a taxi over Uber because of the ease of use. They don't have to wait and everything. That's what I will put in the same way for neobank. People are banking all their life, but why people will use a neobank is the user experience, the value we bring, the hyper personalization, and that's why a user will use a neobank, and that's what's happening with our existing users. That's the difference I will put within traditional banking with the neobanking. And coming to NBFC, yes, we can partner with an NBFC, and we can be an NBFC, but it all depends on what is the traction you are getting, what kind of customer you are acquiring, and how you are going to put lending as a feature or as a sub-product in your main product, that being totally on the side of lending.
And Suman, like in that context, can you just talk a little bit about your relationship or partnership with SBM Bank? Like, what are you like? Is it essentially lead generation for them, or how does that structure work in terms of underwriting? And why do you even need a bank to to partner up with?
Yeah, lead generation is a very crude word. Okay, what I will say is we, like I said, right, we cannot take deposits from the bank. We cannot take deposits from the user, because it's a regulated entity. Unless you have a banking license, you cannot issue a savings account, and you cannot take deposits from the bank. So what we do, and I was sorry to say that we are kind of a lead generation, okay? But what I will say is that we partner with SBM, and we piggyback on their license, and we help people to open accounts online in less than 2 minutes, under 7 clicks. So you can have a savings account, and that account is created on SBM, because they are the banking license holder, right? So the account is created there, the deposit goes to SBM, okay, and that money, what you're depositing is insured as per the RBI up to 5 lakhs. Okay, so what we do is that we cannot take deposits and issue a savings account, we partner with the banks and build on top of their infra and piggyback on their life. So yes, literally the account belongs to the SBM, the customer belongs to SBM legally and technically, right? But on top of that, what we do is that we build a better banking where the existing banks are failing to do.
Right. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, obviously, we have seen an explosion in terms of India's digital footprint, right? In the last, I would say, 12 to 24 months. One interesting kind of observation that we could make was that only lately, you're seeing a lot of technical outages. It's kind of becoming like a recurring trend with the traditional banking institutions. Like we all saw, what happened to HDFC, and the RBI came in, and obviously they could not, issue new credit cards, and that's that. Like technically, technical outages has become a big operational risk for a lot of large banking institutions. Is that also a market opportunity / play here for guys like you?
It's kind of a tricky question, I will say, because even if we are building on top of the banking infra. Okay, so if you have to do KYC, we have to depend on the banking infra.
Yeah.
And if the banking infra fails, which is most of the time, I would say, I don't have to say this, you can edit that. Okay, so if what I'm saying is that if the banking infra is so bad, because I will put it this way. Everybody is talking about open banking in India, but there is nothing open about open banking in India. Nothing. Okay. And none of the banks, I will tell you how I can write a book on how not to start a neobank in India, literally, right? And if I have to put it in this way, we face a lot of issues when coming to banking infra. Right, the UAT doesn't work. There are a lot of issues, and most of the banks, they have a tech team, but they outsource the whole technology to third parties.
Right.
For example, core banking system is one part, loan management system is one part,
Right.
the debit card management is one part, credit card is one part. So you really have to involve all these people while building your neobank, not just dealing with the bank, right? So there is no other solution. Okay, we can improve. We can improve. We can try to build a better thing. But yes, we are dependent on the bank. But that is the reason we try to partner with the right banks who have the right tech and right infra. And that's what you have to take a decision on who you're partnering with.
Right. And obviously, you have kind of spoken briefly about banking being such a regulated activity, which it is. And it was only recently, I think it was in January, when the RBI kind of set up a working group, which is, I think, supposed to come out with a report in April on the regulatory framework around online lending at large. Now, obviously, you kind of are sitting at an interesting vantage point because you're operating a business in the same space. I'm sure you have been involved in some capacity from the perspective of being a stakeholder in the entire ecosystem. How do you see RBI rules directionally going in this regard? As of now, obviously, as a neo RBI kind of from the perspective of lending has kept things very, very restrictive. There is some merit in that assumption. There's obviously like a lot of bad experiences outside India, which we all have seen. So the RBI is being conservative from that standpoint. Obviously, in India, from lending is not the only area where digital lenders are getting in. There's also that entire technology layer to which you alluded while talking about Finin. So, as a stakeholder, how do you see the rules progress going forward?
I think when coming to the consumer product, we always look at America, USA, on what is working there and what we can build there and how we can build better in India, right? Other than finance. But when coming to fintech or when coming to finance, we always look up to Singapore or Hong Kong because they are the financial hubs of Asia, right? And recently, Singapore or Hong Kong started issuing digital banking licenses, and I think RBI will follow, and I imagine RBI will follow the same thing of the digital banking license for issuance of digital banking licenses very soon. And that when that happens, I think we want to be in the forefront of getting a digital banking license and build a digital bank, more keeping consumers in the mind from ground up. That's when happens the whole banking will be changed. Right, and when coming to lending, yes, there are a lot of sad stories. There are a lot of things happen and recently there can be micro lending and everything. But there is a very thin line on what is on lending, right? Either you are with the micro lending and the NBFC. There are a lot of things. There are thin lines, and people are playing on thin lines. Not the serious players. And the serious players are really working on the regulations. They are very clear with books. They are very very clear with regulations. And I think. Like I said, I think people who follow the regulations and keep in mind, they're not really worried about what are the changes happening on the regulation side, right? And when coming to the neobank, we are waiting for the digital banking license from RBI.
But what does when you said digital banking license, what kind of, what's the expectation here? In terms of from an operational standpoint, how would it change things for you guys?
Yeah, it's like we don't have to depend on partnering with an existing bank, right? We have a digital banking license. We don't have to depend on partnering with an existing traditional bank. Then we can.
You mean in terms of having the license to underwrite?
Deposits, yeah, underwriting, deposits, and the tech. It's all about how we can build a proper bank keeping consumers in mind.
So effectively, the ideal scenario for you guys would be that you can look at branchless banking and the right to collect deposits, so that you get the cheapest source of funding, which you can then deploy from the perspective of looking at superior underwriting at the consumer end because of all the data inputs that you're getting from your consumer application. That's the
yes.
And you feel bullish on this? You think RBI is kind of looking at things from that outlook? Because generally, historically, I know you can't say a lot of. I know you I'm putting you in a tricky spot by talking about the RBI but the point. RBI traditionally has been like a slightly blunt force trauma type of a regulator. So, and they've been overtly conservative. But you kind of are seeing a fair amount of engagement as a stakeholder.
Yes, look, you kept it in the right way. What I will say is that if you see the trends and if you see the tendencies, we always who really guessed that there will be issuing payment bank licenses, right? Nobody really thought about the RBI issuing payment bank licenses, but it happened. The same thing will happen with digital banking licenses, but because that is the future, and nobody can fight with the future unless you want to stuck in the old world, right? So that's what will happen, and I'm very bullish on it. I can't push RBI, or I can't push lobby them. We are a small fish, but yes, I think that's what is going to be happening.
That's very encouraging to hear, because you mentioned payment banks. Obviously when it came across in the beginning, it was an interesting model, but the fact that it was like a model in which one of your arms is tied behind your back. So when you look at digital banking licenses, obviously that's kind of more full services. So from that perspective, it's very encouraging to hear from you that you are pretty bullish on that regulatory scenario in the future.
I think I'm very bullish on it, and that is what the consumer needs. That is what the consumer wants, and that's what the consumer should have. And I think whatever we say, I will tell you. Have you ever seen a bank go bankrupt in India other than merger and acquisition like any other country? So RBI is very consumer focused, and what is good for the consumers, RBI will always do it. And I think this is good for the consumer, and RBI will do it.
Okay. You talked about consumers. I think you have a focus here, Suman, on sort of getting personalized banking, right? That seems to be a key theme of the thesis here. How granular can you go? General approach is to sort of break down the market, hit target groups, and then sort of deliver customized solution. But do you think you can go at an individual level and collect as many data points which could help absolute personalized products through the entire from savings and investing?
Yes, that's exactly what we are building and what we want to be, right? I will tell you, if what is happening in the traditional banking right now, if two people working in the same company, drawing the same salary, belong to the same age group, okay, and one person is single and another person is married and he has a kid, okay, the bank considers them to have the same segment because of the age group and income group. Okay, but the financial lifestyle of both of these people are totally different because one person is single and another person have a family. But why can't the bank which sitting on such a huge data, why can't they hyper personalize? Because they don't look at the consumer different, because they just want to create one product and sell them, right? But whereas a neobank like Finin, we can always push. We can understand the user because we are users. Right, we are users. We use our bank first than anyone else, right? So we can always understand what the user wants, and based on that, we can provide hyper personalization. So if you say how deeper we can go into hyper personalization, yes, we do. We are working on it to go as deep as we can, so we can provide hyper personalization. Whether it can be on the hyper categorization of the transaction, whether it can be hyper personalization of products, whether it can be hyper personalization of your wealth management. Right, we are working as deeper, but as you know, we have to take one step at a time, and we are getting there, and our aim is to build the most hyper personalized banking in India.
And obviously, this is a mobile-first product, right? I mean, the users tend to be smartphone users, and in terms of other neobanks as well, which are coming up, like there is a lot of emphasis on personalization. There's a lot of customized offering to guys, and usually when there's so many players, people often tend to play on user interface and technology quality of tech algorithm. Like, how do you sort of differentiate? And this is again, I'm asking. Let's say there's a potential customer. How does one pick which platform to gravitate towards when the general marketing pitch is sort of keyed towards customization and also ease of use, right? How does such in an environment like this, how does one stand out?
Look, at the end of the day, we stand out with the features, we stand out with the user experience, we have to stand out with our marketing, and we have to stand out with the value we bring to the consumer.
Right.
And we really have to put our word forward, or else it's going to be kind of a you have to reach to the customer.
Yeah.
For any product, you have to reach to the customer in the right way, and we have to find the right thing. And luckily, what's working for us is the PR and the word of mouth is working for us. So you really have to get your first 100 loyal customers who will talk about your product in a good way, and push it to multiple people.
Yeah.
And that's what we are focusing. We are building a loyal community. We are building a loyal customer base who can work for us. I mean, who can put our products further reach out. Right? It's like the Salman Khan movie. I help you, you help 3 people, and 3 people help multiple people. That's what we are trying to build here.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, and seems like you guys are on the right track as well.
Suman, like, one interesting thing is that, when it comes to technology plays like these, where UI, UX, personalization, features, they become so important. There is generally a point in time when these things get a bit commoditized, right? So, for instance, obviously we are talking of savings account offerings and investing options, but like maybe when a couple of years back, discount brokers like Zerodha came in for the first time in our country. Over time now, if you look at Zerodha, if you look at Upstocks, all those apps, they have a pretty similar kind of appeal in terms of the UI is slick, it's commoditized, it's standardized, and then you need to keep on iterating to make sure that the customer gets hooked. And the customer keeps on coming back to your application. Similar thing happened in OTT also, right? I mean, there was a time when only Netflix was there, and then over time, you have Hotstar, you have Amazon Prime, and then now the way that these guys are now trying to compete with each other is that who has the best content pipeline and how do you keep it updated. So content probably plays a major role when it comes to a pure consumer-based application such as yours as well, right? Because otherwise, banking is a fairly it's not something that you kind of do. It's like, for instance, I'm an ICICI bank account holder. I have an ICICI bank app. I'll open it if I have to do a transaction or if I have to, check my balance. But other than that, there has to be something really interesting for me to go back to it and open it, right? So how do you say that entire, customer retention play?
I will say that this is I really like this question. And why? Because if there is you mentioned the name, so I'm telling you, I'm mentioning the name again here, Zerodha. Zerodha is doing a great work when coming to equity, right? Equity trading or investment and everything. And who was the player who did it before Zerodha? No one. Because they were the traditional players, but these people did it in a better way. And the whole day they grew, exponentially, right? And then there came multiple products similar to, not just similar to Zerodha, but focusing on the wealth management,
right?
If you see all these products on the wealth management, the product is same, okay?
Yeah.
But how do you pack it, how do you sell it, and how do you really focus on what the consumer needs than selling your product? That's what exactly differentiates. And that's what happens with Neobank, right? Like you said, you're having an ICICI. What does ICICI do for you? Take your deposit, take your salary, they give you an option to transfer money, or give you an option to do transactions or UPI, and then they call you and then they tell you, do you need a loan, do you need anything, right? Other than the banks do nothing. However, I will tell you one simple example. You receive your salary in your bank account every month, and why the hell your payslip is not attached to your transaction next to your transaction? Why you really have to go to your email and look for your transactions and push it to look for your payslip in your email? And why cannot you push all your transactions which are tax deductible to your CA to your auditor in one click? Why you cannot receive the notifications of your subscriptions? Who is going to charge you when, how, and for what? Instead of somebody charging you and receive a message on your mobile that somebody charge you. Why can't you take a decision if you really want to continue with the subscription? There are multiple products which can improve the customer experience. I will tell you one simple example. You order something on Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. You order something on Amazon, they charge you immediately. Yeah. When you cancel that order, they tell you that the money will be in your account in 2 or 3 business days. And which of the banks or which of the apps or which is really notifying you that Amazon credited your account or not? And if it is not credited in the next 2 or 3 days when you flag it, who is telling you to follow up with Amazon? None. There are multiple products or features or something which can help users to really save money and manage money in a better way. That's what we have to do. It's not just about opening a savings account or selling a mutual fund. It's about how we can improve your financial journey or financial habits or financial behavior on everyday basis, right? And that's what a Neobank, that's what Finin can do.
Right.
And that's where the retention will happen.
Right. So, Suman, overall, now it's been how long has it been since this journey started for you?
It's been around 2 years, I will say, and it took us a lot of time to forge a partnership with the bank. It took us a lot of time to integrate with the bank from the technical side to go live. It took us around 1 year and 8 months to really go live. I will say 1 year and 8 months of sleepless nights. And we went live we did a soft launch in the third week of December, and we went live in Jan. And so far the journey is good. We are having some good traction. We are onboarding around 120 users per day, right, without any marketing and without any push much. And right now we are focusing on building the wealth management and other products, and we are going to full throttle on the marketing and expert customers.
Right. And what's your if you kind of take a step back from Finin and in terms of post-COVID, what's your view on the credit cycle in the country? In the sense that obviously pre-COVID we were probably looking at improved asset quality, and then COVID hit and put that entire equation out of whack. And now with all the moratoriums in place and disclosure restrictions from the Supreme Court, there is a narrative that the actual asset quality of a lot of the large banks and financial institutions is much worse than what the numbers look like. On the digital lender side, obviously not a lot of data is anyways available. So what's your take on that? How do you see the credit cycle recovery in India at a broader macro level?
I think the problem is most of the people, they don't even know what a moratorium, how to avail for a moratorium. Okay, and it's not about the moratorium, or it's not about the NPAs, right? It's about what exactly these people. Everybody is talking about digital lending. Everyone in India, every fintech company, lending. I'm sorry to say that even you started that lending is the ultimate thing. It's a Achilles heel, and I totally understand. Mm-hmm. But how many people are really working on digital collection? Until there is a digital collection program, how exactly you're going to justify digital lending, right? What is the digital? What is the models of collections? Until there is a pure collection process on digital collection, the lending will always be there will be huge NPS. There will be huge thing if it's a moratorium or no moratorium, right? Because People are not really scared anymore. They are really scared about their civil score and everything. And especially during this moratorium, they really lost their civil score, right? Because people don't know that their civil score will be affecting if you don't avail for the moratorium, if you are not paying for it.
Right.
It's about again, it comes to the same thing, like financial illiteracy, financial jargon, financial language. Most of the people, they don't know it until unless they are educated, until unless they know it. There will be all the issues of digital lending, non-performing assets, NPA, and do it. And you have to build a proper digital collection along with digital lending. That's when the whole industry will be more on the par of building a better, I will say, disciplined lending, I will say.
Well, no, this was super fascinating, Suman. Thanks a lot for your time, and we wish you all the best for your future journey with Finin. We'll obviously be, keeping a close track of how things are going at your end. We're always very naturally interested and curious about this sector. And no, thanks a lot for your time. This was great, Sharath. What do you say?
Yeah, no, it's good to chat with you and learn about the business and how you're thinking about what is becoming a fairly big industry. So it's good, and like Nikhil said, we'll keep a close eye and maybe even download the app and play it with it ourselves.
Please do that, and please promote Finin. It's not for our consumers, it's not for our customer acquisition, but it's more about, we want more users to be financially independent and economically stable. And I want them to explore what they can really do with their money, right? So please give your feedback. And Nikhil and Shreya, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
Great. No, thanks a lot. And so this was fun, and we'll be back soon on another day like today. And this should be fun, huh? This is Nikhil Arora
This is Sharath Tupran.
signing off.